You know what's strange? An entire generation was told they could be anything, worked harder than anyone expected, and somehow still can't afford the life their parents had at 25. That's not a personal failure. That's a structural collapse nobody warned you about. I am talking about millennials, people born between 1981 and 1996. And before you think this is another think piece blaming avocado toast, stay with me. Because what happened to this generation is actually a massive psychology experiment that nobody signed up for. You're 32. You did everything right. You went to college. You got the degree. You work hard, maybe at 2 jobs. You're responsible. You optimize everything. Your resume, your LinkedIn, your side hustle. And you're still one unexpected car repair away from financial disaster. And the exhaustion isn't just physical, it's this deep, bone-level tired that sleep doesn't fix. The kind where Sunday night feels like a countdown to something you're not sure you can survive another week of. If you're a millennial, if you graduated into a recession and spent your entire adult life trying to catch up to a stability that keeps moving further away, this video is going to explain why you're so burnt out and why it was never really your fault. Here's what actually happened to your generation. Millennials became the first generation in modern history projected to be worse off financially than their parents, according to research from the Pew Research Center. Think about that for a second. The entire premise of progress, that each generation does a little better than the last, just stopped. You graduated into the 2008 financial crisis. The job market collapsed right when you needed it most. Entry-level positions suddenly required 5 years of experience. Internships were unpaid. Student loans doubled. And the advice from older generations was, just work harder, when the system itself had fundamentally changed. Psychologist Twenge, who wrote a book studying millennials called Generation Me, found something fascinating. Millennials score higher on measures of narcissism than previous generations. But, and this is the part that'll mess with you, they also score significantly higher on anxiety and depression. So you've got a generation that was told they were special and now feels completely worthless. High expectations meeting brutal reality. That's not entitlement. That's cognitive dissonance at scale. Here's the timeline that broke this generation. Millennials were raised during the self-esteem movement. Helicopter parents. Everyone gets a trophy. You were told that if you just worked hard enough, you could achieve anything. Then you hit your 20s and the economy imploded. You showed up ready to follow the path, college, job, work your way up, and found that college now costs 10 times what it used to. Entry-level jobs don't cover rent and loans, so you got a side hustle, then another, and you're still treading water. Anne Helen Peterson, who wrote Can't Even, How Millennials Became the Burnout Generation, put it this way. Millennials became burnt out because they were told to optimize every aspect of their lives for stability, but the goalposts kept moving. Social media made it worse. Millennials got Facebook and Instagram when their identities were forming. Dr. Tim Kasser's research shows that basing self-worth on external validation tanks mental health. You're running a 24/7 campaign for your existence, and millennials are delaying life milestones, marriage, home ownership, kids, not because they don't want them, but because they're economically impossible without family wealth. So you've got people in their 30s still waiting for real life to start, except the waiting room costs $2,200 a month. Then COVID hit. Whatever stability you'd built collapsed. Remote work erased boundaries, and when the world reopened, you were supposed to bounce back. Be grateful, keep grinding, but you can't. because you're 30 and already exhausted. So what does this mean for you now? First, the exhaustion you feel isn't a personal failure. It's the predictable result of a generation being handed an economic system that fundamentally doesn't work and then being told to just optimize harder. You're not failing. The system failed you first. Second, that cognitive dissonance, being told you're special while feeling worthless, isn't something you created. It's what happens when you're raised with one set of expectations and then thrown into a reality that makes those expectations impossible. You can acknowledge that the encouragement you got as a kid came from good intentions, while also recognizing it left you unprepared for what was actually coming. Third, the burnout isn't just in your head. According to the World Health Organization, burnout is now classified as an occupational phenomenon. It's not a personal weakness. It's what happens when chronic workplace stress isn't properly managed. And when your workplace is also your home, when your side hustle is also your identity, when rest feels like failure, burnout becomes inevitable. Fourth, delaying milestones doesn't mean you're behind. It means you're adapting to an economic reality that your parents never had to navigate. You're not less of an adult because you rent at 35. You're dealing with an economy where the median home price is 7 times the median income instead of 3 times like it was in 1980. And here's what nobody tells you: the comparison isn't fair. Your parents weren't competing with the entire internet. They weren't performing their lives for an audience. They had boundaries between work and home that you've never experienced. They retired with pensions you'll never see. The rules changed, and then you got blamed for not winning a game that was rigged before you even started playing. If you're a millennial, if you're 32 and exhausted and wondering why you can't seem to catch up, you're not broken. You're responding normally to an abnormal situation. The burnout isn't a bug in your system. It's evidence that the system itself is broken. You didn't fail the American dream. The American dream failed you. Watch our video on people who had to parent their own parents next. Different generation. Same pattern of being given responsibilities without resources. Subscribe for more psychology on generational patterns nobody talks about. And comment, are you a burnt out millennial? You're not alone in this.